everyone seems to be chasing protein, right? And we do love our protein, but the real game changer might be fiber. We accept being hungry, we accept having low energy and being inconsistent like it's just normal, and it's not. And a lot of times it's the lack of fiber. So most people aren't even close to getting enough fiber. And I'll be honest with you, I was looking over my tracking recently and I'm not getting enough fiber either. So we're going to talk about that as well. But that gap can show up in cravings that you can't control. You're like, I don't know where these coming from. Energy crashes like midday, feeling just kind of off, like no matter how clean you eat. And what fiber can fix that no willpower or discipline can ever fix is it can keep you full longer. It can stabilize blood sugar. It can improve digestion and it can support fat loss without even trying or working harder. So, today, what we're going to do is we're going to break down what fiber actually is, what it does, why it matters, and what you should actually be focusing on.
Yep. Speaking of fiber, berries are a great source of fiber, and you were teasing a blueberry story all week, and I need to know what went on, what happened.
Yes, blueberries are a great source of fiber, and it's one of my favorites. I pretty much have blueberries every single day. That's one of my staples when I go to the grocery store. It's like I never ever forget blueberries. It doesn't have to be on my list. I just load up as much as possible. I like them, plus they're fantastic for you. So, I typically go to Publix in, early Saturday morning, and I'm going in there and, I'm checking out. I have, like, 5 pints of blueberries or something like that, and the lady is checking me out. She's going through, scanning everything, and she picks up one of them, is kinda looking at it, and usually with that, they can't get it to scan, right? So, I'm assuming she's looking for the barcode. Well, she keeps looking at it, like, really closely, and I'm like, "What is she doing?" And she puts it down, she looks at another one, like, really, like, analyzing it, like, and I'm like, "What? I have no idea what's going on here." And she looks at the girl that was bagging everything, and she said, you know what? There's just a lot of moldy blueberries in these. Will you go grab a couple pints to replace these?" And she's like, "Yeah, fine, no problem." And first of all, I'm thinking, "Okay, well, I mean, I appreciate her looking out for my blueberries." My second thought was, I I'm I pay a lot of attention to the fruit when I pick it up. Like I enjoy taking my time and looking at all my blueberries. So second thought is I kind of feel like she's disrespecting my blueberry picking out process. And so I'm like, I thought they looked great. Otherwise, I wouldn't have grabbed them. But okay, maybe she knows better than I do, and she's looking really carefully at them. So the girl comes back, and she's got a couple more, and she continues to look at all my blueberries. She's like, "Oh, you know what? You're gonna kill me." She's like, "These two aren't good either. We go back and grab a couple more." And I'm thinking, I like trying to look from across where the cash register. I'm like, I don't see any moldy blueberries. They look pretty good to me. So she has like 4 on the side. She's got like 4 more. She's starting to go through those, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, there's just some more moldy ones. These just are not up to par." And I mean, she's gonna get so mad at me, but we've got to take these back. I'm gonna have to talk to my produce manager. This is just out of control. And I'm thinking, and now by now the line is like stacking up behind me because she's the only one open. There's the only line open. And there's like 4 one, of course, who are they looking at? Me, like I'm kind of causing some kind of problems,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to say anything because I mean, I'm again appreciative that she's looking out for my blueberries. And but at the same time, everyone's looking at me, this is taking forever. And so she's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I've looked at like, and by now she's gone through like 10 different things. The girl that's been bagging, she's not coming back. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure she's like, I'm out. I'm not looking for any more blueberries. And so we're just standing there, and I'm finally like, you know what? Are there a couple that look good? She's like, well, I think these two look pretty good. Let's just go with those. So she's like, Okay, I'm so sorry." She's like, "I'm really gonna have a conversation with the produce people back there because this is just out of control. I'm just embarrassed by our blueberries." And it's just taking like 20 minutes to go through this whole process. So I was like, "Man," I was like, when I get home, I was like, "These better be like the best blueberries that I've ever had in my life." So of course, like when I'm eating them, I'm like going through every single one. I'm like, and I'm like, I don't get it. I mean, usually when I buy blueberries, they're exactly the same. So I don't know what happened at Publix, and I don't know what's going on, or if she if they had a little conversation with her. But I guess the good thing is she was looking out for her customers. She was trying to get the best blueberries possible for me, so I am appreciative, but, yeah, the craziest thing, usually they don't even double check. I've taken home stuff I didn't notice, like, "Dude, come on, man," but eggs, they always check the eggs, right? Although lately they've been getting lazier. They're like, "Did you check your eggs?" And they
Yeah.
know me 'cause I'm there all the time. They're like, "You've checked your eggs, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have." They don't even open it up. I'm like, "What if I missed something? You guys need to check
Oh.
this stuff, right?" So that's my blueberry story.
Yeah, I wonder how anyone got through that checkout though. She like, does she do that for everyone? Which is like, yeah, you said, it's very nice, but yeah, like the whole process because I feel like anytime I go to the grocery store, it's like there's like it's so hard to find like one tub that doesn't have rotten or moldy like berries or whatever it is. Like so, I think it's an impossible task.
Exactly. Another thought crossed my mind is like, I almost thought she was gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna get something. We're just gonna pour all these out into like a little tub, and we'll just kind of
Let's
pick
sort
the
them.
good blueberries, sort them out, yeah, and
Yeah.
put them in the. And I was thinking, oh man, if that happened, this is gonna be a classic story. But
Oh
yeah, so
man,
good
yeah.
times.
This is why you order groceries.
Yeah, yeah. You order groceries, man. Half those blueberries are gonna look like crap.
For sure. No, I can't order the fruit. Like, I'll only order if it's like a pineapple where it's like you don't really like you have to look for anything or banana, stuff like that. But for berries and things, I do go in and get those.
Well, and I'll tell you, there was a little anxiety on my part when the bad girl went back to get some more because, that's happened before. They come back and, open it up and it's garbage. It's not
Yeah,
nearly as what because they don't care. They're just grabbing
yeah,
whatever's there. She's not looking at it,
exactly.
So, but
Yeah. Serious business.
it's business, man. She likes her blueberries. I respect that, though.
Yeah, that's crazy that you eat them every day. You said like for years, right?
Oh, yeah. I love blueberries. One, I mean, just, anytime you see anything any kind of research on blueberries, they're like, "Oh, this is, like, one of the biggest superfoods ever." But I actually like it. I mean, there are other foods that are, like, superfoods that I'm like, I don't really like it that much, so I don't really eat them. But blueberries, I just love. I don't know what it is, just I love the taste, they're easy to eat, I can eat them anywhere. And so, yeah, I pretty much have them. That's and it's actually the way I layer my okay, I layer my fruit for lunch. So I have this little container and I put my favorite fruit at the bottom because that's the last thing I'm gonna eat, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes I mix it up, but the blueberries are always at the bottom. The blueberries are always the last thing. I'm gonna get through everything else. I'm like, all right, got my blueberries now.
So blueberries are number 1 fruit for you.
Probably, probably. Well, if you consider everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything involved, blueberries is probably my number 1 fruit. I definitely only buy that's the only one that I buy every single time, and, I mean, I love fruit in general, so you could pretty much name a fruit, and I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I love that fruit."
Yeah.
But, when it comes to, like, year round, anytime, any price, whatever, blueberries. It's in my fridge.
There we go. That's the secret right there.
That's a secret right there. So what's been going on with you?
Not much. I'm just in a weird season lately, so I'm just like drained and stressed and tired. I did have a volleyball tournament last weekend, which I'm not pleased with my outcomes again.
Yeah, okay, I know what happened, so please share. Please share with us.
Yeah, so we got 3rd place, which normally, like, okay, sure, it would be fine, but the team that won, we beat them in pool play. We could've like, every single time, we could've won, and then, to be fair, I kinda choke, and I realize it's all a mental thing for me, I put too much pressure on myself, like, when it gets serious, like, pool play, I'm like, "Oh, like, we got it, we're good," so I'm in flow, like, we're crushing it, and then as soon as playoffs come, there's just pressure, or if someone's coming to watch me, there's just pressure, and then I choke, and I mess it up, so should've won, didn't, got 3rd place, so I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, it's funny because I sent you a message. I was like, "Hey, how'd you do in your tournament?" Because I saw the medal. It looked like I couldn't tell. It looked like you won something,
Mhm.
and you're like 3rd place. I'm pissed.
It's bullshit.
I loved it too. I was like, "I know, right? If you don't come in first, man."
See, it's like, if like, that's where we really stood, then yeah, like, if we played really well and, like, the other teams were just better, like, I would be totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And it's not to say the other teams weren't good. It's just, like, I know that we could like, we literally proved that we could beat them because we did. So that's where I'm like, "Come on."
Okay, but you know what? Let's be honest. even if you're like, everyone was, I mean, we're probably legitimately the third best team there. You get third place, you're pissed still.
If I played well, like, if we really, like, played our best and we came in 3rd, I would be happy with it because that's happened
Well,
before. Like, if,
okay.
like, we, like, genuinely, like, that's where we land, but I think it's more of knowing that, like, we're that much better or just, like, having these standards and then falling a little bit short. I think that's what gets me frustrated. Obviously, of course, like, normally, like, anytime I wanna get 1st, but it's like, I wanna earn it. So, yeah.
All right. All right. I'm not the same. I'll tell you. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, if I'm invested in it and then I want to win. And if I don't, then I'm not happy about it. I mean, even in when we have like, I mean, I could tell you any kind of story with any kind of sport, but I'll give you an example of field day. I mean, there was a year where I had kids that would trip over their own shoelaces, and I was like, if we don't win this thing, I'm going to be pissed off. And, of course, we won, and everyone was like, unbelievable. They're like, "This is we're gonna beat him." We won, but anyway, I would have been upset even if we would have
Yeah.
lost. Yeah, it's, the other thing I was gonna ask you about, which this is interesting. You said if someone comes to watch you, then you put a little more pressure on you. And I could totally get the mental thing like that. No one, I didn't feel pressure from anyone else. I always felt like the internal pressure, like the pressure to succeed, like in my mind, I put on myself was so extremely high that if I didn't succeed every single time, then I would be pissed off. But I will tell you, whenever I played, I kind of felt like I was just like nothing was around me. Like, it didn't matter if there was 10,000 people around or not a single person in the stands. Like, it was all, like, blocked out. So, are you the same, or do you really notice people walking on the beach or coming to see you or people hanging out or anything like that?
No, like, not those things. Because obviously there's always a lot of people around, and, like, anytime I'm playing, like, there's always a lot of people, especially at those tournaments. I think it's more of, like, when I know people are coming specifically to watch me, like, then I know that I'm, like, on the lookout or I see them walk up, I'm like, "Oh, shit," like, I don't know, and then immediately it all ties back to like, it's funny, it all ties back to the self narrative of like, oh, not being enough, having to earn my worth and my love, like from a kid, like it's crazy how it plays out in like all these unexpected areas too. Like it's all that. So it's just undoing that, but it's funny. I'm telling you, everything is mental. Training, sports, business, all of it. It's just mental.
Mental game, man, that's yeah, it's tough. It's
We're
tough for sure. That's
working
probably the
on
hard
it.
that's probably the hardest part. I mean, the physical, you can visualize it, you can see you can do it, right? The mental, it's so much more difficult. There's so much, and I don't know how to describe it, but like when you get those thoughts in your head, like you can't just, get rid of them. I mean, they're there. And so there's just a lot of thought process and there's a lot of mindset change. There's just so much that goes on in your mind. It's so more powerful than the physical aspect of things.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that all said, should we get into some fiber?
I'm gonna say the same thing I said right before we got on. I don't feel like you're excited enough about fiber. This is gonna be a fun episode. You're gonna be interested in it. You're gonna love it, and people are gonna be like, "Yeah, I need to get some more fiber. This stuff's pretty good."
Let's go, fiber. I would yell lube. I don't want to blow out everyone's ears.
All right. So you really think the part of the reason fiber gets ignored is because it's not flashy? I mean, like your reaction right there is exactly probably what if you would ask me last week, hey, are we going to talk about fiber? I put them like, yeah, sure, whatever. Nothing exciting, right? So, and it's not like the eat list to lose 10 pounds or this is a secret to any kind of fat loss. It's a lot more like behind the scenes.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't wake up thinking, "Oh, I need to make sure I hit my fiber today." Maybe some of our clients because we've reinforced that and they know how important it is. But I think a lot of times they're thinking more of, "Oh, I feel bloated," or "I'm always hungry," or "My digestion is off," or "I'm feeling low energy." A lot of times fiber is sitting underneath all of that. It's one of those foundational pieces that doesn't get attention, but it does impact everything.
Right. Preach, hey, eat protein first in your meal. Make sure you're eating plenty of it as a good rule of thumb. But we've also, especially if you are getting your protein in pretty consistently, it might be an excellent idea to also think, hey, I need to get my fiber first thing.
Yeah. like, prioritizing the first in your meals too, just like you do with protein. Like, it really is super important, and it's definitely not talked about enough, and I think it is gonna be something that people talk about a lot more as as we get it, it's gonna be like the new protein, I feel like, to a certain extent. Maybe not, like, quite to that extreme, but
Well, yeah, I think you're gonna start seeing the marketing blow up
yeah.
again. Everything's gonna be like couple grams of fiber, 3 grams of fiber, everything like that. Do you remember I was thinking about this morning. Do you remember the Fiber One bar?
Yeah,
You do remember that?
yeah.
Well, I at the time, I could care less about fiber. I was just eating it because it had chocolate chips in it, and it
Right.
tasted good.
Exactly. It's like a
Yeah,
candy bar almost.
I was almost treating it like a little protein bar, even though it didn't have much protein in there. But I remember eating those all the time. I would love to have you know, thought about how much or how much fiber I was getting back then. But yeah, I love those. I don't even know if they still make those. Do they? They probably do,
I'm sure
right?
they do, yeah. I feel like they have to be still around. I don't ever pay attention though. I feel like
Nah,
it's
that thing's coming back too.
you're right. Yeah. But what does fiber actually do? So, for one at a basic level, fiber helps to regulate digestion, but that's more of the surface. We're finally understanding how critical the gut is to everything when it comes to energy, mood, immunity, even fat loss. And then fiber is fuel for your gut bacteria. And without enough of it, your microbiome diversity drops, inflammation is going to rise, digestion is going to slow. But if we are getting enough fiber, that's where you produce more short chain fatty acid, which is huge for your health overall. You improve insulin sensitivity and you support your hormone balance. So, this is why fiber is moving more from just a digestion thing to more of a full body performance lever that you can pull. It's impacting how full you feel after meals, how your body processes carbs, how stable your energy is, and how well your gut functions. So it's not just about digestion, it's about the entire system and how it's functioning.
Yeah, and we also need to talk about long-term health and how fiber affects that. So this is where fiber really starts to matter just beyond like how you feel like day to day, right? So there's a lot of research showing that high fiber intake, especially soluble fiber, can help reduce LDL cholesterol. You'll see a lot of doctors recommending fiber for people who are trying to improve their heart health or coming off certain medications. And that's because fiber actually helps like bind to the cholesterol in the digestive system and actually remove it. We're also seeing a massive rise just in society in type 2 diabetes and more specifically like insulin resistance. And fiber actually helps by slowing glucose absorption down, reducing insulin spikes, which is a huge win for fiber, and improving metabolic flexibility. And so this is where like fiber overlaps with longevity as well as disease prevention, not just aesthetics. All right. And again, we're not talking about doing anything extreme. We're just talking about consistently increasing fiber intake over time. And it's going to be, we can make it a very sustainable approach. We're talking about a lot of times just 10, 15 grams of fiber per day.
Yeah, this is something too that we look at when we get clients' labs and we're looking through them, especially when it comes to cholesterol and even, like you said, like pre-diabetic markers. This is a really big lever that we can pull to help with that. And even something that our clients naturally see that's contributing to their labs getting better each time that we look at them. But huge, huge lever for those areas. So very, very important there.
Yeah, and I feel like, when it comes to fat loss, most people kind of get in that stuck, or they get stuck in a cycle of overeating because a lot of times their food just isn't satisfying, right? And fiber will slow the digestion down. It will blunt the blood sugar spikes, like we said. It's going to keep you fuller a lot longer, right? And it's essentially like, I don't know, like a natural appetite regulator, right? And you don't even have to track anything. You just and for, a lot of listeners right here who are busy, high performing professionals, I mean, this is like gold, right? Less decision fatigue, fewer cravings, better consistency. So, from a fat loss standpoint, it's huge. Most people don't struggle with fat loss because they don't know what to eat. They struggle because they just can't stay consistent. So, they're hungry, they're snacking, they feel out of control. And if you eat more items with food items that have fiber in it, then that will definitely help with that.
Yeah. Fiber plays a huge role in satiety. So when your meals have more fiber, one, they're just going to take longer to digest, which is going to keep you fuller longer, and it's going to help prevent big spikes and crashes in blood sugar. So instead of when you're hungry, you just grab a snack and then you crash and then you snack again. And it's just like a vicious cycle. You get a much more stable experience throughout the day. And for a lot of people, just increasing fiber naturally reduces how much they're going to eat without having to track everything.
Right, and then there's digestion, and maybe we should start with this. This is where a lot of people actually notice it, First, so if your fiber intake is really low or it's inconsistent, meaning you have some higher days, some lower days, your body won't really have a rhythm, right? So we end up with bloating, and sometimes a lot of we'll have clients that are like, "Man, I'm doing everything right, but I'm getting a lot of bloating going on, or constipation, or just like irregular digestion." And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people think that's just normal, and it's not. So if you are having any of that, then that's something that we would need to pay attention to, right? And a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll try to fix it with supplements or detoxes, or they'll just cut out a lot of foods. And really, the issue tends to be you're just not consistently giving your body what it needs to function properly, and fiber is usually a huge part of that.
So, increasing fiber is great, but there's a few things that sometimes we can get wrong when we do that. Where people mess up is they go from barely eating any fiber to then trying to load up and getting a ton of it overnight. And they may add a lot of veggies or just high fiber foods or supplements, and then likely they're gonna feel worse, more bloated, more uncomfortable, and they're gonna be like, "What the hell? Like, Lawrence Mackenzie told us to eat more fiber. Why do I feel worse? And, like, why isn't this working?" When in reality, it's just too much too fast. Fiber is something that your body adapts to, so you gotta build it up gradually.
Oh man, I have a little story about this too. And during COVID, I always forget that. I think it was called Misfit Markets or something like that. It was Misfit something, and it was this company that would buy like really ugly vegetables and fruits from farmers that they didn't want to put out in the grocery stores. Aesthetics, even matter even for grocery stores, right? And then you could order all you could pick all kinds of different times. And so I was like, "Hey, during COVID, this is kinda cool. I'll just have it delivered to my house, and I can just try all kinds of different vegetables and fruits and things like that." And it was hilarious because a lot of them were super ugly, They're just, like, gigantic, or they just had some weird shapes to it or things like that. And so I was like, "Man, I'm gonna, like, load up," because 'cause I'm not a big vegetable guy, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And I was like, "I'll try all these new vegetables and these different, fruits and things like that," and I would just have tons of it. Like, I would, like, cut a bunch up and for lunch, and then, man, all of a sudden, you're getting gas, like, out of control, and I was like, "This is disgusting," and you don't feel great, even though, like, man, I'm eating stuff that is really good for me. But like you said, it's because I went from not eating a whole lot of fiber to probably eating like 3 times as much as I needed to at a time, and so my body was like, "Dude, chill, like, this is way too much at once." So, yeah, so we definitely it's just like with anything, working out, whatever. We don't wanna go from one extreme to another, we kinda wanna start getting into it and feeling our way through it and just gradually, making and that's gonna be sustainable. You eat a bunch like I did, you go through the phase like I did, and all of a sudden you don't feel that great, and then you stop eating stuff altogether, and you're not getting enough fiber as it is.
Yeah, so what should people aim for?
All right, well, so in general, I think, and it depends. I think if you're a woman, at least 25 to 30 is probably a good little range. I think if you're a male, then 35, 40, somewhere around there is probably a really good place to be.
Yeah. I say most people are sitting around, at least from what we've seen when clients come to us or just in general, is like 10 to 15 a day, if that. And so if you're in a position like that, when we talk about building up gradually, it's like, okay, first maybe get to 20 grams consistently, and then go to 25, and then 30, and then 35. So it's like week to week, or like every couple weeks, you can bump it up once you're really consistent with that. Uh, and so for most people, it's not about optimizing, it's just getting closer to that baseline each time.
Yeah, and I mentioned in the beginning that I don't get enough fiber, and so I was kind of looking at my tracking, and and I have as my goal on the lower end, like around 35, and it looks like I'm consistently getting closer to like 25.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
so like most people, like I'm probably 5 to 10 on average each day, a little bit lower than I need to be. So that's one thing that I'm gonna look at and see. Just and again, I'm not gonna go in and grab a bunch of fiber supplements or go crazy and try to add another 20. I'm just gonna try to tweak it here or there, maybe eat a little bit more of some of the higher fiber items that I take in, or maybe add one or two items or vegetables or fruit that I don't eat as often to see if I can get a little more fiber in my diet.
Yeah. And that's also where it can be useful to, like, go and track occasionally too, especially things like fiber where you don't look at them enough. Because even people like you that are super dialed in, it's like sometimes you overlook that. We just don't think about it because we're focused on the other macro. So it is good to check yourself sometimes and go look. I wonder what mine's at. I use a different tracker now that doesn't have fiber on there, so I'm like, I don't even know what mine's at. Probably be good to investigate since I haven't checked in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to tracking, and I understand that why some people don't want to. But even if you're just doing it every now and then, like once 1 week a month or something like that, or just to kind of, it's almost like just kind of check in with yourself, just see like what the reality is. And I
Uh-huh.
think that most people, if they do that, they're going to realize, oh, maybe that my protein's not as high as I thought it was, or maybe my fiber's off a little bit, or maybe my fat's really a lot lower, or high or whatever it may be. And, here's something interesting too is you might look at it and kind of, because there's so many people who look at carbs and say it's such an evil thing. They may go in there and say, my carbs are actually kind of high. And that was like one of the best feeling,
Mhm.
I felt so good that week. My workouts were super intense. And so you learn a lot of stuff from the data if you have it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely if you haven't tried it before, it's, like, absolutely something that you should, and then if you're someone who has a lot of experience, like you or I, like, even like you said, it's good to just go if you have a day of, like, normal eating, it's good to just go and check and be like, "Hey, where am I at? Where are my numbers evening out to?" Or just do it for a couple weeks and see, "Alright, where's my baseline at? What do I need to tweak?" And then you already know in your head the changes you need to make if you've tracked consistently enough. Yeah, a little sidebar, but very helpful, very useful.
Well, and that's what I was doing. I get so focused on the protein. And so that's like my number one thing that I'm looking for. And then the next thing I'm looking at is calories. And so when I was looking at the fiber, I was like, I'm gonna look at everything a little more closer. And my fat is a little bit lower than I should probably have it. So that's, again, not focusing on just one thing. Of course you can prioritize things, but having a good general broad viewpoint of what you're taking in.
Mhm. Yeah, so since you mentioned yours is a little bit lower, let's talk about ways we can go and increase fiber because this doesn't have to be complicated either. You don't need a full meal plan. Just start layering it in. So things like adding in fruit, getting some blueberries. Hopefully, it's not a much of a hassle to get them from the grocery store. It's like adding some fruit to your day instead of removing carbs, or add in some vegetables to your meals that you're already eating. Choosing whole foods a little bit more often as opposed to store bought stuff or packaged stuff, or just including things like oats and beans and lentils. You don't have to reinvent things, you're just adding a few things in here, they're making a couple tweaks, and it really shouldn't add any extra time or energy.
Yeah, and based on what we see a lot of times with our clients, I would say the two things there is one, choosing whole foods more often. And then the other thing is adding fruit. I feel like a lot of people just don't eat much fruit for whatever reason it may be. And so, my girls always give me a hard time, but I always say, hey, man, fruit is like nature's candy. It's so good.
It's so
And
good.
well, and the more you eat it and the less of the other sugary stuff you eat, the sweeter it becomes and the way it's supposed to be. So, definitely add more fruit, I think, and the whole foods. A lot of the processed stuff just doesn't have enough fiber, or it's added fiber that's just not as good as um, real fiber from whole foods.
Mhm.
All right, so let's talk about some of our favorites. So I talked about blueberries, right? I love blueberries; that's a staple. The other thing I have pretty much every day is avocado, and that's really high in fiber. Another, I mentioned I don't really love vegetables. I do love peas, and I don't know why. Even as a kid, like that was my favorite vegetable. If my mom ever said, "Hey, you get to pick the vegetable," and this is funny too because my brother hated peas. And, so it was always like, "I get to pick the vegetable this day, it's peas," and he's like, "Oh, I hate peas." And then, he always went with corn, that was his favorite. But, yeah, so I love peas. So I eat peas a lot, not every day, but, I would say 4 or 5 times a week probably, so quite often, actually. Those would be my like, if I went and look at what I tracked for the day, those would probably be my any kind of berries, avocado, and peas. Those are kinda like my staples.
Yeah, I know you and I were talking about this the other day, I was like, "I can't believe that you don't like vegetables. Vegetables are also so good."
I don't I don't know. I just can't get into vegetables. I mean, I don't know. I would rather eat, 18 different fruits throughout the day than have any kind of vegetables. And that every now and then I'll have some broccoli or some Brussels sprouts, something like that, and it's okay. When I grill out, I like to grill out carrots, but that's
Mhm.
really the only time I eat carrots. So, um, yeah, I just probably need to do a better job of adding a little more variety to my meals.
And but also too, like, it's finding what works well for your body. Like, some people like, even too, like, sometimes it's raw versus cooked makes a really big difference on digestion, is just how your body responds. So it's finding what works best for you. I'm more just giving you shit. I'm telling you, like, once you eat, like, once you figure out how to cook and it's not even that hard. Like, most of the vegetables I'm cooking, I'm just, like, roasting them or just, like, putting them on a pan and, like, salt and pepper. It's so delicious. It's so good.
I know. But like our clients, like everyone else out there, you kinda have to weigh, like, I can't eat everything, right? So it's like, what am I gonna have instead of that,
Yeah.
or what I prefer? So, but you are right, and if you're out there listening to this, like you said, like, try different things. Try
Uh-huh.
different vegetables, try it cooked, try it, uh raw, try different types of fruits. That my Misfits story, one of the things that I thought was really cool is just going to the grocery store and buying different types of fruits and vegetables you never had before, looking up different ways of preparing it and doing that. And a little side note, with kids too, that's one way to get them to eat more fruits and more specifically vegetables. And you also learn more about what they like, right? And I'll give you an example. If you're always wanting to give your child cooked carrots, let's say, for example, and they're like, I hate carrots. And you're like, well, you just got to eat them, blah, blah, you get this big battle, right? They may love raw carrots. I mean, you've been feeding them cooked carrots. That's the only option. So sometimes it's fun just to give them a little tray. Say, okay, here's some raw carrots. Here's some, cooked carrots. Here's some carrots with little, hummus, whatever it may be, and let them try them out. And they'll tell you, oh, I really like it this way. I really don't like it that way. And so it might give them an opportunity to have more variety in their diet as well.
Yeah, and there's so many good fiber foods out there. We kind of wrote down just a couple just to give people some ideas. You mentioned a lot of them already, like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots, spinach, and kale. You and I both are. We were like, we're never huge fans of like either of those. Like kale, I don't know if there's ever a time where I intentionally ate kale. Like I don't even know if I've ever even had it in my maybe like once, and I'm just like, why do people eat this? um, not selling it, but
No, I'm the exact same way, and there was a little kale boom, remember? And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll try it," and I'm like, I'm out."
yeah. But yeah, basically, like most veggies, really solid choices for fiber. And then, like you said, berries are a really, really good one. Raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, apples, pears, bananas. Just get your fruits and veggies, people. Also, like oats and quinoa and chia seeds are great. Beans, like I personally don't ever really have beans or lentils or anything like that, but there is a good amount of fiber in those, or even just like flax seeds, almonds, and like avocado, like you mentioned. So those are like a few solid ones if you want to like pick from those and start incorporating them in. But really, just like again, like you said, experiment, find what works for you, start adding them into your meals.
Yeah, my oldest daughter, she started doing something for breakfast, I mean, she came up with the idea herself, and it was fantastic. Those Oikos Pro yogurts, she'll take that and I'll chop up some strawberries for her, and she'll put in that, and then she'll, just put tons of, like, chia seeds on top, and then
Mm.
she'll drizzle a little bit of honey on it. So you're getting a lot of different foods that are just really good for you, and, she loves the combo, it tastes great, and you're adding some fiber, you're adding protein, really great start to your day. So this is like we said, we're just experimenting. For me, like if I probably added some more beans or lentils throughout the week, I'd probably be pretty good. Or maybe if I added some, some kind of seeds, some chia seeds or flax seeds or something like that, it'd probably be good. So just kind of playing around with different items.
Mhm. Yeah, I love like, I'm telling you, that Greek yogurt bowl is, like, elite meal. Like, one takes no prep time. Like you said, high protein, can add in those things, get fiber, micronutrients. It tastes so freaking good. Greek yogurt and fruit, I'm telling you, like, it's better than ice cream, people.
It really is. It's so good. I mean, as long as you can handle dairy, you've got to try it at least for one of your or a snack or something. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a great way to start off the day.
Yeah, and chia seeds are so underrated. Like that's usually one of the first things that I have clients incorporate when we're working on fiber because it's so easy. It's like, yeah, throw it into your yogurt or if like overnight oats, another great super simple meal. Throw in chia seeds. It makes it like kind of like pudding. Like it kind of absorbs, like it makes it more of a pudding texture, which is really good. So easy to add into things and really great source of fiber there.
Well, overnight oats, especially if you're prepping, talk about something that takes almost no time. Do it the night before. Or you can even make it with your dinner, so you're doing everything at once. Put it in there, and then you wake up in the morning whenever you need it. Even if you're in a super big hurry, boom! I mean, it's done. It's ready to go. All you gotta do is get a spoon, and it's delicious and
Hmm.
great start to the day.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So, bigger picture, bigger takeaway is that most people, a lot of times, will get focused on restriction, like what do I cut out? What do I need to avoid? In reality, a lot of people would just feel a whole lot better just by adding the right things in and more protein. We've talked about many times, but more fiber and more whole foods. And that's it. So, fiber is one of the easiest places to start. So, if you are someone who feels constantly hungry, you have low energy, you're dealing with digestion issues, or you're just not feeling great overall, then something worth paying attention to. Not perfectly, but consistently, because it's really one of those things that just doesn't feel like a big deal until you fix it. And then you realize how much better you really feel.
Yeah, if this episode was helpful, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future ones. And if you know someone who's focused on nutrition but overlooking the basics, send this to them. Get them on the fiber game. Also, if this made you realize that maybe the digestion, energy, or hunger might be a little bit off, we created a step-by-step masterclass on how to heal your gut, reduce bloating, and regain energy. So I'll drop that link in the show notes, totally free. You can download it, and we will catch you guys in the next one.